All right, y'all. So welcome back to the channel. So look, this is gonna be a couple of videos on this in turn, pertaining to the car sales business. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make a lot of other videos about it, the do's and don'ts. But today, guys, specifically, I want to tell you guys about my experience as a car salesman. Now, I worked at 2 different car sales jobs. One was for 3 months, guys, and one was for literally a month. Now, some people might be like, man, you didn't spend enough time in the business or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Guys, trust me when I tell you, I've picked up the ins and outs and I understand the business and I understand how it operates. I understand the tactics. I understand everything having to do with the car business. So I want to go back to last year because literally just a few weeks ago made over a year since I kind of been in the car business. I got friends and I got people that I know that work in the car business. I got people I trust that are, a lot of things, it's crazy because I never cared about cars that much. But, as I had to get my own car and things like that, and, I got into the car business, it got really, really crazy. So let's just get into it, right? So first things first, I worked at the first car dealership last year, started around January 21st. And it's a big car dealership. It's a car dealership, sponsored by a league. I'll just say that, right? So you guys can take that how you want. Blake Griffin. But yeah, so anyways, I started working in that car dealership and it started off pretty well. And the reason why I say it started off pretty well because, guys, I know how to interact with people. I can sit and talk in front of a camera with nobody around. I can talk in front of 10 people. It doesn't really matter to me. So I'm very, very good with people. So when I got into the business, it was exciting. The earning potential, everything was there. This dealership did a really great job of training because, it was only about 4 of us that actually ended up. So 100 of us got interviewed. 11 of us came back for second interviews and only 7 of us made it. 1 got transferred. So it ended up being 6 of us. Another one quit, just never showed back up. And then it was about 4 of us that actually made it. So 4 of us actually made it. It was me, my boy. All right, yeah, so it's 4 of us. Then they transferred over another guy from a different store. So it ended up being 5 new guys to start at this dealership. My first time in the dealership, super excited. The training was great. Shout out to them. The training was great. We got to role play. We got to look at fake deals, or not literally a fake deal, but write up deals with the actual sheets and things like that. So when we were writing our own deals, we weren't too confused. We got to read books about, how to sell, everything. We got set up perfectly for training, and one of the sales managers actually took their time out the day to actually help train us. So that was pretty good. Couldn't complain about the training. Now we get into the sales. So, and the memories are just starting to rush back in my head. So yeah, we get into the sales now, and where do we start? So initially we were able to get leads, right? Now, if you guys don't know what a lead is, it's pretty simple. As a salesman, obviously, if you're starting fresh and brand new, you're not gonna have a bunch of people that are just ready to buy a car from you. And it's not like people are coming in a dealership at a high clip anyways, at least not at this one. So we were given leads, Capital One leads where people got pre-approved. Supposedly they got pre-approved, but then, we were able to get them into the dealership and, see if they wanted to buy a car. My first 4 people I sold a car to, insane, right? But they were pre-approved leads, and all I was doing, guys, was I didn't know much about cars at that time, last year. All I was doing was just getting comfortable with these people, just talking to them, and they were able to trust me once they realized I was new, once they realized I wasn't in the business for a long time. And that's one of the weird things about the business is because car salesmen have this bad rep, as soon as they realize you're new, it's like they almost immediately fully trust you because they don't think you're going to be able to hit them with too much, nothing crazy. So like I said, I was able to sell a couple of people right away, which was pretty good for me. And I don't want to talk too much about the pay plan, guys, because I feel like the pay plan is different everywhere, right? This one wasn't that bad because I was getting salary, so I was getting $500 a week plus whatever I sold. If I sold a used car, it was $250. If I sold a new car, it was $100. Never really made much sense to me, but that's neither here nor there. I don't want to dive too much into the pay plans. I feel like we could talk about that at a separate time, but the pay was good enough. You know what I mean? I was getting paid weekly for that. So whatever I sold plus salary, and I still had other jobs, so I was able to save up money pretty fast. But yeah, so I guess where I want to say where things started to get really weird is just first things first, obviously overcoming being a car salesman and having that bad name attached to you before anybody even gets to know you, which was super annoying. Second, they're not really your friends, guys. You know, like they try to preach this teamwork thing, but car sales is literally what you can do as an individual. It doesn't matter what Ricky or Bobby or Shaniqua or John or Tum Dum Dum. It doesn't matter what they're doing or what you can do to help them. It only matters what you do, because if Tum, Jimmy, Ricky, Dondi, and all of them sell 15 plus cars and you sell 3, and a new guy comes in and he's selling 8 to 10 cars, you're gonna get replaced. So that's just how it works. And the one that I was at first, it was about 10 of us as cars. It was about 10 to 12 of us. It wasn't that many people, you know what I mean? Like, it was about 10 people. So I think that's like the best amount of people you can have in a dealership, where it's not too little people, so it's too toxic, versus too many people where everything's out of control, which we'll get into later. So yeah, that's where for me, you know, it was kind of a little bit annoying. And then we get into the sales tactics itself. So obviously 9 times out of 10, you're gonna have to lie to somebody. You're gonna have to lie to somebody. And when I say you're gonna lie to somebody, you're gonna have to try to hit them with these weird sales tactics that get pushed down from the higher ups, because the higher ups are getting pressured from the owners. And then, you know, obviously the higher ups, which are the salesmen or the sales managers, are going to come back down to the salesman and say, hey, this is what you're going to do. So for me personally, in my particular situation, it started to really get bad when I realized that, you know, these people don't really care about you, right? There's this thing called an up system. So basically what the up system is, you know, say for example, you're waiting up at the front door for a customer to walk in. That's called an up. Because once the phone calls aren't working, you know, your leads are dead, you're trying to make calls, nothing's going crazy, you're gonna have your moments. You shouldn't rely on ups all the time, which everybody knows in the business, you can't rely on ups to be super successful. You're gonna try to wait for your turn. So we had this thing where people would get their turn and wait, and people always would cut. People would always go outside and take customers, bring them in. It was just very, very grimy and slimy. So, you know, there was no structure there, and that's on the managers and that's on the owners to have a system set in place, so the salesmen are not just running around doing anything. But it's like, at the same time, they do want you to be aggressive, so they don't really care. They just want you to bring a deal to them, to the desk, and, you know, bring an up sheet and let them know you got a customer in the building. So that causes a really toxic environment, and it causes a very, very, very wild environment. So that's one thing. The next thing in my situation was, we had to do fake surveys. Now, if you guys don't know what a fake survey is, it's very, very simple. Say, for example, you sell somebody a new car, right? Once you sell them a new car, we had to do something that was a survey that was like a survey based on how the customer felt. Now, these surveys had triggered questions in them, meaning they would ask the customer, did you feel pressure during this car buying experience? And guys, anybody that's ever been in a dealership, ever been a part of a deal, ever heard somebody even explain about going to get a car, guys, there's going to be pressure involved in that. So they wouldn't want customers to take these surveys. So what they would do is they would make us take the survey, and we can only take the survey so much ourselves. So say, for example, I made a random email for myself and did the survey. All of a sudden, I had to go to my cousin or my brother or a friend to do the survey elsewhere with an entire differently email. Once I already did it on this one in this location. So it was very, very toxic and annoying, because guys, when you sell a car, you have to first of all, you have to sit the customer down, qualify them, figure out what they need, run back and forth between the manager and the customer, figure out numbers, take the car on a test drive. Once the car goes on a test drive, still figure out numbers and things like that. Finally reach an agreement with the customer, close the customer. Then you have to, you know, go gas the car up, get the car washed. You have to help the customer with insurance and all this other stuff, bring the customer to the finance office. So it's a whole lot of things that, you know, goes into selling the car to a customer. And then to be told that you have to take a survey to make sure that we get great scores so we can get more inventory allocated to our dealership was ridiculous to me. It didn't make any sense, and it was super duper frustrating. It was one of the beginning of the downfalls more than anything else, with, you know, being in that dealership at the time. And it was just very, very frustrating, because it's like, I didn't sign up for that. I didn't sign up to sell cars. I didn't have to do all this extra stuff that come with it. I just wanted to be a car salesman. I didn't want to be Mr. Take a Survey and do all this extra stuff. That should be on you guys. But the way they put the pressure back on us was saying, hey, if you guys don't do these surveys, then we're not going to be able to get more inventory to our dealership, meaning you're going to have less inventory to sell to customers. So that's how they flip the pressure back on you and try to make it seem like you're the problem. And, you know, if you're not doing your job, in a sense, when really you're going behind someone's back and doing surveys. And I didn't sell much new cars. I sold like maybe 2 to 3, and in those 2 to 3, man, it was so painful because I really didn't want to do that. I built great relationship with these customers, and it was like I was forced. I can't say I was forced because I was just like hawked down. I had to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like you need to do this. You need to do this. So did the surveys. Really, really didn't want to do it, but it was nothing crazy. Like people were, you're taking people's information, but if I would feel away if someone did a survey behind my back without letting me know. Like, let me do the survey if it comes to that. The used cars didn't require surveys, so it was what it was. But even with the used cars, guys, you guys know how this is. Cars were always bad. These used cars always had issues. You know what I mean? Like these guys do these inspection sheets on these cars, claiming the cars got inspected, and there's always an issue with the car. I remember I drove a car, and there was an issue with it and things like that. So yeah, really, really bad. And the salesmen, obviously, they did weird things. It was always weird stuff going on. And all in all, guys, it just got to a point where it was just like, why am I here? I just started to not care. You know what I mean? I started not to care. The up system was so toxic. You had salesmen in there that was toxic. You had sales managers that every now and then they try to talk to you how they want to talk to you because you're not doing something right in a deal or whatever the case may be. It was weird. Yeah, a lot of weird things. But I think that was what made it my first experience as a car salesman. In this dealership I explained to you guys, like it was just the fake surveys. The pay started to get a little bit weird. Even that with the paying, like there was a time where they missed a car on my check. So a car that I actually had sold, it didn't show up on my commission sheet. So I had to get it corrected. When I did get it corrected, I got a check separately for $200. It was about, I think it was 210 or something like that. And I thought I was good. But then the next check I got a payroll advancement. So basically it took the 200 out my next check. So basically I never even got the money. So it was very, very weird with the pay problem. That was an issue within itself that we always had to complain about. The up system, the fake surveys, the weird salesmen. Already having to deal with customers, guys, because not every customer is pleasant to deal with. Some customers, even if you show them the utmost respect, and even if you're honest with them, they'll ghost you. So a lot of times customers don't even respect your time. They don't respect you. So yeah, all in all, that entire first rodeo as a car sales lasted about 3 months. It got to a point where I would just come in there. I would take phone calls. I even had a manager ruin a deal for me. A customer was already pre-approved. They didn't want him to, do the deal through his bank with his own interest rates. They wanted to do it through their bank. We get him pre-approved. We get a credit app, which was going to allow them to make more money. Long story short, the guy ended up not even wanting to, he ghosted me because when I came back to him and said, hey, we need a credit app, he ghosted me because, there was trust there that he already told me he was pre-approved, but I was being told by my manager, you need to get a credit app. You need to get a credit app. So unfortunate business. But yeah, it got to a point where I would just come in there, and I have to throw this in there because I'm thinking about everything. I know it's a little bit all over the place, but I'm just thinking about everything all at once. There was even a sales guy in there that was super weird. He was super sus. He always would say weird comments and do weird little things, but the energy I gave off to him, I just ignored him, and I made sure he understood, like, just by how I reacted to him and things like that. Don't play with me, man. You can play with them. You can say certain things to them, but I'm not even gonna pay you no mind. So I just didn't pay him any mind. But he started to make me really uncomfortable because I was like, yo, if this guy tries to touch me in a way or do anything weird, I might go to jail about this. So I would ignore him, and whenever he did something weird, I would just leave the building, grab a car key, take one of the cars from the lot, go get some food, or go sit in the car, just go on the phone. So they noticed that. Obviously, I started not to care a lot. And I even had a salesman try to like put his hand. It was really weird. Had to check a man about that too. It was crazy, man. It was really crazy. So all in all, guys, the experience started to get too toxic for me, and what I decided to do was just go in there. If my leads aren't going well, if all the people that I email, because I was doing the job, guys. I was emailing people, calling people, because it was exciting to me, like being in sales for the first time. So I was doing the whole nine. The only thing I wasn't doing much of was social media, and that is something that all salesmen should utilize, because if you're able to get more traffic through social media, that's only going to help you at the end of the day. So that's the only thing I really wasn't utilizing within the business at the time. But yeah, once the leads weren't going well, once the up battle was going out of control, I would just try to make calls. It didn't work. go sit in the car, chill for, you know, whatever. Just let the days go by, get paid my salary. Because even if I didn't sell a car, I didn't care. I was like, hey, or whatever, I'm gonna get salary. So I started not to care. And yeah, that obviously backfired on me, which, you know, I was hoping it would. Because I got let go, I got fired, you know what I mean? Which was, I'm not gonna lie, I'll be honest, it did hurt a little bit initially, cause I'm like, damn, I never got fired before. But it was like, I wasn't even mad at them, cause I was like, this was coming. This is how I was gonna react to the business. I was gonna play their dirty game. So it's like, if you're not gonna be a puppet for them, they're gonna let you go, obviously. So, you know, they let me know, yeah, we think you got a lot of potential, and you definitely do, but you know, and they asked me if I wanted to work at a different dealership, and I was like, nah, I just took a break, and that's where I ended up at my second dealership. So guys, that's gonna do it for the video. If you guys wanna see the video on the second dealership, my most recent dealership, and how long it lasted and things of that nature, let's get this video to 10 likes, guys. I don't think it's gonna be hard for y'all to do that. Get this video to 10 likes. And yeah, I will definitely do that for y'all. If anything seemed a little bit off to you guys, I'm not making another video pertaining to this dealership. Just drop your comments down below, guys. Anything that might have confused you a bit or whatever, just ask questions in the comment section, guys, and I'll literally answer all of them. You know what I mean? I got my YouTube Studio app, so I can see when the comments come in. So I'll answer you guys. But if you guys want a part 2 for the next dealership I worked at and the last dealership I'll ever work at, because I'm done with dealerships, let's get this video to 10 likes, and I'll see y'all boys in the next one, man. Peace.
Gang, they cannot do it like him. Nobody shooting like him. Gang, nobody doing like him. That nigga hate everyone cause he broke, and that's why nobody like him. Gang, SD gun, now he talking this shit.